Welcome to Songs That Have Changed Me, a series where I talk about music that I have enjoyed and that has changed my outlook on life, music, creativity, stuff that is real. Today I want to talk about Classical Gas, a song which I assume everyone learned from The Simpsons.
Now do Classical Gas!
I get most of my cultural information from The Simpsons. Well, up until I haven't seen any Simpsons episodes since Katy Perry. The peak for me was 10 through 13, and I don't want to enter into a discussion about when the best Simpsons is. It's not what we're here for. Classical Gas is what we're here for today. Classical Gas is a piece of American folk music. How is it? Instrumental music, originally performed by American guitarist Mason Williams. Yeah, Mason Williams is the guy what wrote Classical Gas. There are many versions of it. There's the Lisa Simpson version, of course. There is an Eric Clapton version, which is probably one of the more popular ones. I don't like Eric Clapton for reasons that I'm not going into here. The Mason Williams version, I think, has a band behind it, which feels a little strange. I think it's a really great piece of solo classical guitar music. Tommy Emmanuel has a ridiculous version that I'm rather fond of. I think Tommy Emmanuel plays it live still. It's sort of hard to put my finger on what it is I like about Classical Gas without just saying I like the harmony, I like the melody, I like the tempo, and I like the rhythm changes. I like everything about it. I think it's just a really pretty piece of music. I think it does a really good job of establishing themes and patterns and then deviating from those patterns in a really satisfying way. There are some interesting sort of not tempo changes, but like rhythmic changes. There's like occasional bars of like not 4/4 that if you're just listening to it casually, you can sort of ignore them. They sort of just pass over you, like the music's just sort of happening. But if you try to play it, it's quite hard. There's like, I can only play bits and bobs of Classical Gas, and that's after many years of trying. It reminds me of a like really specific kind of Americana that I can't quite put my finger on. Like if you say American folk music, you think of country music, certainly. You might think of bluegrass, certainly. But then there's the other stuff that I think is sort of derived from westerns and cowboy films, like this sort of big country vibe. And there's only a few places where I've really sort of experienced that. Maybe I need to watch more cowboy films. That could be what it is. I don't know what the name is. Is it something like the term gas means like a reel or something? Oh no, it was originally named Classical Gasoline, which has a real ring to it, doesn't it? The tune was envisioned to be fuel for the classical guitar repertoire. Oh, that's really funny. Fuel for the classical guitar repertoire, so it's an etude, essentially. Mason Williams was head writer for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. It's baffling that I haven't read up on this song I'm really fond of. Williams was the head writer for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour at the time of the piece's release and premiered the composition on the show. Williams performed it several times over several episodes. Yeesh, that's so funny. And then in the 70s, Mason Williams re-recorded Classical Gas as a solo guitar piece on his 1970 album Handmade. Wow, that's absolutely... I need to know more about the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. Mason Williams, man. I'm going to be Googling this for the rest of the day. That's absolutely fascinating. And if you haven't heard Classical Gas, I really encourage you to do so. And I find it fascinating that it was made with the intention of being like a piece of music that you learn. I think maybe it is. I've definitely taught this to guitarists in the past. I've definitely had students, like when I worked in education, there were definitely students who played like exclusively classical guitar, and they were like, what do we learn? I was like, I have created I would think grade 3 guitar piece based on Classical Gas, which is it has the rhythm changes in it, but like the sort of the strumming and the picking is a lot more forgiving, so sort of it works as a grade 3 piece. I'd break that out quite a lot. That's a version that I could play. Did it change my perspective on the world? Yeah, I guess. Oh, this is so corny. I think the thing is, I knew that this series would be kind of corny because I called it Songs That Have Changed Me, so I just need to embrace that. I didn't realise music could be pretty in the way that Classical Gas is pretty. Classical Gas is pretty in the way that like a Renoir is pretty. It feels like you're listening to a painting. That's how I feel about it. It's Classical Gas is pretty to me in a way that music, I don't want to say shouldn't be pretty, but I didn't realise until I heard it on The Simpsons that I didn't realise music could be pretty. And I don't think I'm going to write anything ever that is as pleasant as Classical Gas. Pleasant's such a weird word to use, but pleasant is also the most appropriate word to use for this song. I'm going to stop talking because I have a limited word. The joke is I couldn't think of the word vocabulary. That's a good joke. I should write for the Smothers Brothers.